Košice, from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, at en.wikipedia.org. Košice is a city in eastern Slovakia. It is situated on the Hornad River at the eastern reaches of the Slovak Ore Mountains, near the borders with Hungary. With a population of nearly 235,000, Košice is the second largest city in Slovakia after Bratislava. Being the economic and cultural center of eastern Slovakia, Košice is the seat of the Košice region and Košice self-governing region, the Slovak Constitutional Court, 3 universities, various dioceses, and other institutions. The city has a well-preserved historical center, with Slovakia's biggest Gothic cathedral. The city is well known as the first settlement in Europe to be granted its own coat of arms. Section 1. Names. The first written mention of the city was in 1230 as Via Casa. The Slovak name of the city comes from the Slavic personal name Koša, with the patronymic suffix ise, though according to other sources the city name probably stems from an ancient Hungarian first name which begins with ko, such as Kokos Kakas, Kolumban Kolman, Kopov Kopo. Historically, the city has been known as Kašau in German, Kasa in Hungarian, Kasovia or Kashovia in Latin, Kasovie in French, Kasovia in Romanian, Košice in Russian, and Košices in Polish. Section 2. History. The first evidence of inhabitants can be traced back to the end of the Paleolithic era. However, the first written reference to Košice, its southern suburb, comes only from 1230 as Vila Casa. After the invasion of Mongols in 1241, King Bela IV of Hungary invited German colonists to fill the gaps in population. The city was made of 2 independent settlements, Lower Košice and Upper Košice, amalgamated in the 13th century. The first known town privileges came from 1290. The city grew quickly because of its strategic location on an international trade route to Poland. The privileges given by the king were helpful in developing crafts, business, increasing importance, and for the development of this city. The oldest guild regulations were registered in 1307. In 1321, Košice became a free royal town after it reinforced the king's troops in the crucial moment of the bloody Battle of Rozgodny against the Amadei family. In 1347, Košice became the second-placed city in the hierarchy of the Hungarian free royal towns, after the capital, Buda. As the first city in Europe, Košice received its own coat of arms in 1369 from Louis I of Hungary. The Diet convened by Louis I to Košice decided that women can inherit the Hungarian throne. Since the beginning of the 15th century, the city had been playing a leading role in the Pantapolitana, a league of towns of the 5 most important cities of the northern part of the kingdom: Bardejov, Levoča, Košice, Prešov, and Sabinov. The history of Košice in the subsequent centuries was influenced by the dynastic disputes over the Hungarian throne. Władysław III of Poland failed to capture the city in 1441. Johann Giskra's mercenaries from Bohemia defeated Tamás Székely's Hungarian army in 1449. Albert, Prince of Poland, could not capture the city during a 6-month-long siege in 1491. In 1526, the city homaged for Ferdinand I, Holy Roman Emperor. János Zápolai captured the city in 1536, but Ferdinand I reconquered the city in 1551. In 1604, Stephen Bocsay occupied Košice during his insurrection against the Habsburg dynasty. Giorgio Basta, commander of the Habsburg forces, failed to capture the city, but Ferdinand I eventually conquered it in 1606. Stephen Bocsay died in Košice on the 29th of December, 1606, and was also interred there. On September 5, 1619, Gabriel Bethlen captured Košice in another anti-Habsburg insurrection. Košice also became the place of his wedding with Katalin Brandenburgi. In January 18, 1644, the Diet in Košice elected George I Rakovci the Prince of Hungary. In 1657, a printing house, and a college were founded by the Jesuits there. The city was besieged by Karuk armies several times in the 1670s, and it revolted against the Habsburg Emperor. The rebel leaders were massacred by Emperor's soldiers on November 26, 1677. A modern pentagonal fortress was built by the Habsburgs south of the city in 1670. Another rebel leader, Imre Thokoli, captured it in 1682, but the Austrian field marshal Aeneas de Caprara got it back on October 25, 1685. The fortress was demolished by 1713. In the 17th century, it was the de facto capital of Upper Hungary. In 1563 to 1686, as the seat of the quote-unquote Captaincy of Upper Hungary, and in 1567 to 1848 as the seat of the Chamber of Szepes County, which was a subsidiary of the Supreme Financial Agency in Vienna responsible for Upper Hungary. The city was residence of Eger's bishop from 1596 to 1700. Since 1657, it was also seat of the historic Kassa University, which was promoted to a Royal Academy in 1777. It was transformed into a law academy in the 19th century and ceased to exist in the turbulent year of 1921. After the end of the anti-Habsburg uprisings in the early 18th century, the victorious Austrian armies drove the Ottoman forces back to the south, and this major territorial change also created new trade routes, now circumventing Košice. The city came into decay and turned from a rich medieval town into a provincial town, dependent mainly on agriculture. In 1723, there was erected the Immaculata statue at the place of a former gallows at Hlavna ulica, Main Street, commemorating the plague from the years 1710 to 1711. There was a center of the Hungarian language regenerate movement which published the first Hungarian language periodical called Magyar Museum in Hungary in 1788. The city's walls were demolished step by step from the late 18th century to 1856. Only the executioner's bastion remained with few parts of the wall. The city became a seat of its own bishopric in 1802. The city's surroundings became a theater of war again during the revolutions of 1848, when the imperial cavalry General Franz Schlick defeated the Hungarian army on December 8, 1848, and January 4, 1849. The city was captured by the Hungarian army on February 15, 1849, but the Russian troops drove them back on June 24, 1849. At the beginning of the 19th century, there were 3 manufacturers and 460 workshops in 1828. The first factories were established in the 1840s, sugar and nail factories. The first telegram message arrived in 1856, and the railway connected the city to Miskolce, Hungary, in 1860. In 1873, there were already connections to Prešov, Žilina, and Chop in today's Ukraine. The city gained a public transit system in 1891 when track was laid down for a horse-drawn tramway. The traction was electrified in 1914. In 1906, Francis II's Rákosczi's house of Rodosto was reproduced in Košice, and his remains were buried in the St. Elizabeth Cathedral. After World War I, and during the gradual breakup of Austria-Hungary, the city at first became a part of the transient Eastern Slovak Republic, declared on December 11, 1918, in Košice, and earlier in Prešov under protection of Hungary. On December 29, 1918, the Czechoslovak legions entered the city, making it part of the newly established Czechoslovakia. However, in June of 1919, Košice was occupied again as part of the Slovak Soviet Republic, a proletarian puppet state of Hungary. The Czechoslovak troops secured the city for Czechoslovakia in July of 1919, confirmed by the Treaty of Trianon in 1920. Košice was awarded to Hungary by the First Vienna Award from 1938 until early 1945. The town was bombarded on June 26, 1941, in what became a welcome pretext for the Hungarian government to declare war on the Soviet Union a day later. The German occupation of Hungary led to the deportation of Košice's entire Jewish population of 12,000 and an additional 2,000 from surrounding areas via cattle cars to the concentration camps for their eventual murder. The town was captured by Soviets in January of 1945, and for a short time it became a temporary capital city of the restored Czechoslovak Republic until the Soviet Red Army reached Prague. Among other acts, the Košice government program was declared on April 5, 1945. After the Communist Party seized power in Czechoslovakia in February of 1948, the city became part of the Eastern Bloc. Several present-day cultural institutions were founded and large residential areas around the city were built, and the construction and expansion of the East Slovak ironworks caused population growth from population of 60,700 in 1590 to 235,000 in 1991, and before the breakup of Czechoslovakia, it was the fifth largest city in the country. Following the Velvet Divorce and creation of the Slovak Republic, Košice became the second largest city in the country, became a seat of the Constitutional Court, and since 1995 is the seat of the Archdiocese of Košice. Section 2. History. Košice lies at an altitude of 206 meters above sea level and covers an area of 242.77 square kilometers. It is located in eastern Slovakia, about 20 kilometers from the Hungarian, 80 kilometers from the Ukrainian, and 90 kilometers from the Polish borders. It is about 400 kilometers east of Slovakia's capital, Bratislava, and a chain of villages connects it to Prešov from 36 kilometers to the north. Košice is situated on the Hornad River in the Košice Basin, at the easternmost reaches of the Slovak Ore Mountains, more precisely its subdivisions of Čierna Hora Mountains in the northwest and Volovské Vrchy Mountains in the southwest. The basin is surrounded from the east by the Slanské Vrchy Mountains. Section 3.1. Climate. Košice lies in the North Temperate Zone and has a continental climate with 4 distinct seasons. It is characterized by a significant variation between hot summers and cold, snowy winters. Section 4. Demographics. Košice has a population of 234,596. According to the 2001 census, 89.1% of its inhabitants were Slovaks, 3.8% Hungarians, 2.1% Roma, 1.2% Czechs, 0.5% Rusyns, 0.5% Ukrainians, and 0.2% Germans. The religious makeup was 58.3% Roman Catholic, 19.4% people with no religious affiliation, 7.6% Greek Catholics, and 4.1% Lutherans. Section 4.1. Historical Demographics. The linguistic makeup of the town's population underwent historical changes that alternated between a growth of the ratio of those who claimed Hungarian and those who claimed Slovak as their language. With a population of 28,884 in 1891, just under a half of the inhabitants of Košice declared the then official Hungarian language as their main means of communication, 33.6% Slovak and 13.5% German. 72.2% were Roman Catholics, 11.4% Jews, 7.3% Lutherans, 6.7% Greek Catholics, and 4.3% Calvinists. By 1910, 75.4% of the 44,211 inhabitants claimed Hungarian, 14.8% Slovak, 7.2% German, and 1.8% Polish. The Jews were split among other groups by the 1910 census, as only the most frequently used language and not ethnicity was registered. The linguistic balance within the town limits, too, began to shift towards Slovak after World War I, with Slovakization in the newly established Czechoslovakia. As a consequence of the Vienna Award, Košice was ceded to Hungary. During the German occupation of Hungary towards the end of World War II, approximately 10,000 Jews were deported by the Arrow Cross Party and Naziists and killed in Auschwitz concentration camps. Section 5. Economy. Košice is the economic hub of eastern Slovakia. It accounts for about 9% of the Slovak gross domestic product. The steel mill U.S. Steel Košice, 16,000 employees, is the largest employer in the city and the second largest employer in the whole country. As an interestingly, truly amazing side note, U.S. Steel's world headquarters in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, USA, is just a few hundred meters from the place where the documents were signed in 1918, giving legal authority for the creation of the former Czechoslovakia. Other major sectors include mechanical engineering, food industry, services, and trade. GDP per capita in 2001 was 4,004 euros, which was below Slovakia's average of 4,400 euros. The unemployment rate was 11.4% in September of 2005, which was below the country's average of 15.6% at that time. The city has a balanced budget of 2.78 billion Slovak crowns, almost 83 million euro as of 2007, with a small surplus of 25 million crowns. The budget for 2008 projects spending of 2.82 billion crowns. Section 6. Sites. The city center and most historical monuments are located in or around the main street, Hlavná ulica, and the town has the largest town monument reserve in Slovakia. The dominant monument of the city is Slovakia's biggest church, the 14th century Gothic St. Elizabeth Cathedral. It's the easternmost Gothic cathedral of Western type in Central Europe, and it's the cathedral of the Archdiocese of Košice. In addition to the cathedral, there's also the 14th century St. Michael Chapel, the St. Urban Tower, and the Neo-Baroque State Theatre in the center of the town. The Executioner's Bastion and the Mill Bastion are remains of the city fortification system. The Church of Virgin Mary's Birth is the cathedral for the Greek Catholic Eparchy of Košice. The visitors can also discover the beauty of several other monuments and buildings of great cultural and historical interest, the Old Town Hall, the Old University, the Captain's Palace, Liberation Square, etc., as well as several galleries, the East Slovak Gallery, and museums, the East Slovak Museum. As for the parks, there is a municipal park located between the historical city center and the main railway station, and the city has its own zoo, located northwest of the city in the borough of Kavachani. Section 6.1. Sacral Buildings. Calvinist Church, Dominican Church, Evangelical Church, Franciscan Church, Hospital Church of the Holy Spirit, Plague Chapel of St. Rosalie, Premonstratensian Church, a former Jesuit church, Synagogue of Pushkinova Street. Section 7. Culture. Section 7.1. Performing Arts. There are several theaters in Košice. State Theatre Košice is a state-run theater founded in 1945, then under name East Slovak National Theatre. It consists of 3 ensembles, drama, opera, and ballet. Other theaters include the Marionette Theatre and the Old Town Theatre, Staromestské divadlo. Due to the presence of Hungarian and Roma minorities, it also hosts the Hungarian Thalia Theatre and the professional Roma theatre Romathon. Košice is also home to the State Philharmonic Košice, Štátna Filharmonia Košice, established in 1968 as the second professional symphonic orchestra in Slovakia. It organizes festivals such as the Košice Music Spring, International Organ Music Festival, and Festival of Contemporary Art. Section 7.2. Museums and Galleries. Some of the museums and galleries based in the city include the East Slovak Museum, originally established in 1872 under the name Upper Hungarian Museum. The Slovak Technical Museum with Planetarium, established in 1947, is the only museum of technical category in Slovakia that specializes in the history and traditions of science and technology. The East Slovak Gallery was established in 1951 as the first regional gallery with the aim to document artistic life in present-day Eastern Slovakia. Section 7.3 Media. The first and the oldest international festival of local TV broadcasters, founded in 1995, the Golden Beggar, takes place every year in June in Košice. The Hungarian writer Sándor Márai was born in this town and wrote about it in his autobiography. Section 7.4 Sport. The oldest marathon in Europe, the second oldest in the world after the Boston Marathon, is the Košice Peace Marathon, founded in 1924, which is run on the first Sunday of October every year in the city. Ice hockey club HC Košice is one of the most successful Slovak hockey clubs. It plays in the Slovak highest league, the Extraliga, and has won 4 titles in 1995, 1996, 1999, and 2009, and 2 titles 1986, 1988 in the former Czechoslovak Extraliga. Since 2006, their home is at the Steel Arena, with a capacity of 8,343 spectators. Soccer club MFK Košice currently plays in the Korgon Liga. The club reached, as the first club from Slovakia, the EUFA Champions League group stages and is double domestic league winner 1998 and 1999. After relegation in 2003, the club returned to the Korgon Liga in 2005. Other clubs in the city include the women's basketball team Košice 2013 Košice. Section 8. Government. Košice is the seat of the Košice region, since 2002 also of the autonomous Košice self-governing region, and it is also the seat of the Slovak Constitutional Court. The city also hosts a regional branch of the National Bank of Slovakia and Czech and Hungarian consulates. The local government is composed of a mayor, a city council, a city board, city commissions, and a city magistrate's office. The directly elected mayor is the head of the city and its chief executive. The term of office is 4 years. The current mayor, František Napík, was nominated in 2006 by a coalition of the political parties KDH, SMK, and SDKU-DS. Administratively, the city of Košice is divided into 4 districts: Košice 1, covering center and northern parts, Košice 2, covering southwest, Košice 3, the east, and Košice 4, the south. It's further subdivided into 22 boroughs. Section 9. Education. Košice is the second university town in Slovakia after Bratislava. Technical University of Košice is the largest university, with 16,015 students, including 867 doctoral students. Another major university is the Pavel Jozef Šafarík University, with 7,403 students, including 527 doctoral students. Other universities and colleges include the University of Veterinary Medicine, 1,381 students, and the private Security Management College in Košice, 1,168 students. In addition, each of the University of Economics in Bratislava, Slovak University of Agriculture in Nitra, and Catholic University in Ružomberok have one faculty based in the city. There are 38 public elementary schools, 6 private elementary schools, and 3 religious elementary schools. Overall, they enroll 20,158 pupils. The city's system of secondary education, some middle schools and all high schools, consists of 20 gymnasia with 7,692 students, 24 specialized high schools with 8,812 students, and 13 vocational schools with 6,616 students. Section 10. Transport. Public transport in Košice is managed by Dopravni podnik mesta Košice, literally, Public Transport Company of the City of Košice. The municipal mass transit system is the oldest one in present-day Slovakia, with the first horse car line in operation in 1891, electrified in 1914. Today, the city's public transport system is composed of buses, in use since the 1950s, trams, and trolley buses since the 1990s. Košice is also a rail hub of eastern Slovakia. It is connected by rail to Bratislava, Prešov, Čierna nad Tisou, Miskolc, and Zvolen. There is also a broad-gauge track from the Ukraine leading to a steel mill southwest of the city. The D1 motorway also connects the city to Prešov, and more motorways and motor roads are planned around the city. The city also has an international airport located south of the city. From Košice International Airport are available these regular direct flights: London Luton, Bratislava, Manchester, Vienna, and Prague. It served 443,448 passengers in 2007, which is more than a threefold increase since 2001. Section 11. Partner Towns. Košice has several partner towns and sister cities around the world. Budapest, Hungary since 1997, Bursa, Turkey since 2000, Cottbus, Germany since 1992, Miskolc, Hungary since 1997, Niš, Serbia since 2001, Ostrava, Czech Republic since 2001, Plovdiv, Bulgaria since 2000, Rahi, Finland since 1987, Rzeszów, Poland since 1991, St. Petersburg, Russia since 1995, Uzhhorod, Ukraine since 1993, Verona, Italy since 1992, Vysoké Tatry, Slovakia since 2006, Wuppertal, Germany since 1980, Debrecen, Hungary. This sound file and all text in the article are licensed under the GNU Free Documentation License, available at www.gnu.org/copyleft/fdl.html.